A white woman called the police on me for sitting in my own yard. Here's what happened next. I want to start by telling you what I was doing when my neighbor called the police on me. I was sitting in a lawn chair, on my front porch, drinking a glass of lemonade, wearing basketball shorts and a Howard University hoodie. My phone was in my lap, playing a lo-fi playlist through a small Bluetooth speaker. The sun was going down, painting everything gold. And for the first time in 3 weeks, I wasn't stressed about anything. I had just closed on my house 11 days earlier. I'm a 34-year-old black man. I'm a licensed civil engineer. I'd spent 6 years saving, budgeting, and sacrificing to buy a home in Cedarwood Heights, a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood in the suburbs outside of Columbus, Ohio. It wasn't the flashiest neighborhood, but it was mine. My name was on the deed. My furniture was inside. My son's dinosaur drawings were already taped to the refrigerator. I was sitting in my own yard on a Thursday evening in September, and apparently that was enough to make someone feel unsafe. Her name was Diane. She lived 3 houses down, and I had waved at her exactly once, the day I moved in. She did not wave back. I didn't read too much into it at the time. People are busy. People are in their heads. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I stopped giving her that benefit at approximately 6:47 p.m. on a Thursday. That's when the patrol car rolled slowly down my street and stopped directly in front of my house. 2 officers got out. One was older, maybe late 40s, with a tired expression that said he'd seen everything twice. The other was younger, mid-20s, hand resting near his belt. My entire body went cold, the way it does when you're a black man in America. And you see that particular scene unfolding and you understand immediately and completely what is happening. I set my lemonade down slowly. I kept my hands visible. I stood up carefully. The older officer, his badge said Henderson, told me they'd received a call about a suspicious individual in the yard of this property. He asked if I lived here. I said yes. He asked if I could prove it, and here is where. I want to pause for a moment because that question lands differently when you're standing in front of the house you just spent 6 years saving for. When you're on the porch your father helped you stain last weekend. When your son's bike is leaning against the wall right behind you. Being asked to prove that you belong somewhere you own is a specific kind of humiliation that doesn't have a clean word for it in the English language. But I stayed calm, because I knew that calm was the only tool I had in that moment that couldn't be taken from me. I went inside, slowly, narrating every movement, and came back with my closing documents. The deed, my ID, my mortgage paperwork with my name printed clearly at the top. Marcus D. Ellison, primary borrower. Officer Henderson looked at the documents. Then he looked at the house. Then he looked at me. Something shifted in his face. Not quite shame, but something adjacent to it. He apologized, said they had to follow up on calls, said I was free to continue my evening. The younger officer hadn't said a single word the entire time. They left. I sat back down in my chair. My lemonade was warm. My hands wouldn't stop shaking for about 20 minutes. I could have left it there. A lot of people told me I should have. Just let it go, Marcus. It's not worth the stress. You've got the house, just enjoy it. But something in me could not let it go. Not because I wanted revenge, I want to be clear about that, but because I thought about my son, who is 8 years old and already learning to navigate a world that will look at his skin before it looks at anything else. I thought about the next black family that might move into this neighborhood. I thought about all the versions of this story that don't end with an apology and a patrol car pulling away. So I got to work. First, I filed a formal complaint with the Columbus Police Department documenting the incident, the time, my documentation, and the officers involved. I kept a copy for myself. Then I sent a certified letter to Diane. I didn't curse. I didn't threaten. I simply informed her that I was aware she had placed the call, that I was the legal owner of the property, and that I was consulting with an attorney regarding the matter. Then I actually consulted with an attorney. What I learned is that in Ohio, filing a false police report, or making a report you know to be misleading, carries real legal consequences. More importantly, my attorney explained that a pattern of racially motivated harassment could be grounds for a civil complaint. I also contacted my local NAACP chapter not to escalate, but to document, to make sure what happened to me existed somewhere outside of my own memory. Because one of the quietest ways these incidents get buried is when the person who experienced them has no one keeping record alongside them. Word got around the neighborhood. I hadn't intended it to, but a young black couple 2 streets over reached out to me because they'd had similar experiences and never knew what to do. We started talking. We connected with 2 other families. We formed a small neighborhood coalition and began attending city council meetings, specifically around fair housing advocacy and police call accountability measures. Diane, for her part, sold her house 7 months later and moved away. I don't know where she went. I genuinely hope she took some time to think about what she did. I still sit on that porch, every chance I get. Sometimes I bring the Bluetooth speaker. Sometimes I just sit in the quiet and watch the street settle into evening. My son rides his bike in the driveway. My neighbor Carl, a retired veteran 3 houses up, waves at me every single time he drives past. His wife brought me banana bread when she found out what happened, said, "You belong here just as much as anyone." It shouldn't have to be said, but it meant everything to hear it. Here is what I want you to take from this story if you've made it this far. If you are black, if you are brown, if you have ever been made to feel like a stranger in a place you earned the right to occupy, you are not alone, and your instinct to document, to act, to refuse to disappear quietly is the right instinct. Know your rights. Keep your paperwork. Find your people and sit on your porch whenever you want, because it is yours. You earned it. Nobody, not a neighbor with a phone, not a patrol car, not a system designed to make you doubt yourself, gets to take that from you. Not today. Subscribe.